These pieces are 7/8 of an inch square, and it's a 16-ounce copper. And you might be asking, why 7/8 of an inch? Well, it's because I had a strip of copper that I couldn't use for anything else, and it was 7/8 of an inch wide. It could just as easily been 3/4 of an inch or 1 inch. Rounding off the corners either with the file or, in this case, with the tube sander on a die grinder. Of course, the tube sander is much faster. And for the earring loop, using this spring-loaded center punch, then a 1/16 inch drill bit, and now annealing the copper so that it will become soft and more malleable. Here I'm using a small ball peen hammer, holding the copper square with the needle nose and peening the copper. As you can see, the copper not only is peened, but it's also forming up on the sides. So with these little squares, the earrings could be peened or they could be just plain. No peening at all. Here you see one that has been peened and wire brushed. In the second earring video, did some cross hatching. Here's pretty much the same, except in this case it's more like a grid. Using the mason's chisel that was illustrated in the second YouTube video for earrings, and the dead blow hammer. For this type of work, I prefer the dead blow hammer over the ball peen hammer. Just makes this type of work a little more accurate. This is a little forming tool that I've made, and you've probably seen in some of my other videos. It's a piece of pine board, about 3/4 of an inch thick. I've heated a 1/4 inch rod up until it's red hot, placed it on the board, then pressed it down with a heavy piece of steel. Aligning the copper blank, and this is one that has been peened, lining it up with that groove, placing a 3/16 inch steel rod onto the copper blank, and then hammering the rod into the copper so that the copper forms to the groove. Then using the needle nose and forming the sides. Now if this gets off, which one of mine did, then I was able to anneal it, flatten it back out, and then start again. And for the finished effect, once the piece has been wire brushed. Now here's a 7/8 of an inch piece that has been peened, but if you'll notice that it's coming up on the sides. Now the one on the right doesn't come up as much on the sides, but I can hammer that and bring it up, finding the right place to place my hammer strokes, folded up until the earrings match.